or what. But I've definitely seen a decrease in the numbers of kids that go trick-or-treating this day and age, which is kind of sad. I loved Halloween when I was a kid, and
so did I.
The only thing we worried about was razor blades and apples, and rarely got apples. So, you know.
And my parents would throw all the fruit out anyway.
Oh, that's kind of messed up.
Well, but that was just it. Some of the other things that are happening just didn't happen.
Yeah. Right. But
even then, it wasn't associated with anything demonic. Just some people were just
bad spirited people.
Yeah.
Where is this? I mean, I don't hear.
You never had a.
Huh?
Do you come from a religious background?
Not that hardcore. Nope.
So you
I've always been
church that said anything about Halloween.
What was that?
Did your church say anything about Halloween, or did they, participate by having a Halloween party?
No, we celebrated Halloween, and there was no pressure on us, or we weren't sat there. We didn't sit there and weren't told that it was a demonic holiday, and to be honest, because I went to a Christian private school, I don't really remember that much about Halloween, when I was in that period of my life. I mean, we celebrated Halloween, didn't get a lot of people telling us that it was demonic and evil. From that time period, I was told that the radio stations that I chose to listen to were more evil than demonic in my music.
Wow.
Halloween. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
So, school was cool with the, trick-or-treating and Halloween. There was no demonizing of Halloween, just my music.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm down with Halloween.
Everybody have that freedom.
What?
I think she said, to have that freedom.
Yeah.
To have that freedom is great, because we grew up with that freedom, and to move into a space where someone else feels that it's their right to take that freedom from you is, to me, just wrong.
Right. Now, was this predominantly in black churches where they demonized Halloween?
No.
I don't think so. I think a lot of I think the Catholic Church does it on a general basis, and I think some of your charismatic apostolic style churches, black and white, do that because it's associated with the devil.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't run into any friends who have complained about, Halloween being demonic oriented. I have friends of all faiths, and so far everybody's cool with Halloween.
Well, that's good. It's really great to know that people see it for what it is. Fun.
Yeah.
I think that all depends on what particular denomination. If you're talking about church, which particular denomination you came from. Like
True.
As an adult, I went to a Seventh-day Adventist church, and that's something that they frowned upon. So, black or white. So.
Right.
So that was just something. We don't celebrate Halloween. That's not something that you do. So.
Right. So you never got to celebrate Halloween as a child?
Oh, as a child, yeah. I didn't grow up in the church as a child. I didn't come into church until I was an adult, and that was my own decision. My mother didn't, she didn't raise me in church or anything like that. That was totally my own personal decision. Like I said, I had fun as a child during Halloween. You get to go out with your friends. And, like I said, we used to throw eggs at people and stuff. So it was fun. And a lot of the things that you do, as far as getting in trouble for the most part, you're a teenager or a young adult doing those things. When you're really a child, you're not necessarily into that. You're more so about going to someone's house and getting their candy. Dressing up in your Power Ranger outfit or whatever it is, that you have. So.
Yeah, my mom. I mean, you guys were talking about how in Canada that it was trick or treat, and if you didn't get a trick or if you didn't get a treat, you went out and tricked. That sounded kind of bad, but anyways.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
My mom was telling me the other day that when she was younger and went trick or treating on Halloween, they went trick or treating, if they didn't get a treat, then the next night they went back and did their trick. I was like, you didn't tell us that when we were kids.
Of course not.
But that was in the 40s, so, it just goes to show that it's been going on for a while.
It has been going on.
It's healthy. It's healthy. There's nothing wrong with it. I believe that. I really believe that.
Do we think the taboo is changing in regards to the holiday? I mean, I remember when I was a kid, it was a big stink. A lot of people were saying Halloween is demonic, and nowadays it's not so much of an argument over it anymore as there used to be.
You know what? I'm sorry. You know what it is now? It's all about the money. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a big money maker.
The child industry, absolutely.
Yeah, because the retail stores put that stuff out, and the retail stores put that stuff out in major displays now.
Yep. Yeah.
Right, but even if you look at it, the theme of horror itself. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the theme of horror itself has changed. I mean, like from that show Claude was talking about, True Blood. You look at vampires now on True Blood, they have this kind of undeniable sense of humanity that lingers in them, from the Twilight to True Blood to this and that. Horror movies now, they sort of, even the remakes of Michael Myers, they made it more psychological than anything else, and you sort of watch it feeling bad for them as opposed to watching the old Bela Lugosi where it's just terrifying and horror, and that's pure evil and it doesn't have any regard for your soul whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, scary movies aren't so scary anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I think people are a lot more sensitive and even like religiously sensitive. And I don't know, do you guys know of any schools where they're not doing like a Halloween party at school but waiting until after school to have a carnival or something?
I know.
I don't know if kids still allowed to dress up and go to school.
I have to ask my brother. He's a teacher.
I know some schools probably do have them, but I've seen churches that actually have Halloween parties.
Yeah, church for the most part now. Yeah, church for the most part now. I will not say support, but they do. They hold parties for children now. So it definitely is changing.
I think a lot of times they have the parties to keep the kids off of, like in the urban areas, to keep the kids out of the streets so that they're safe,
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. To me, it would be more of a safety issue than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, knowing where the candy comes from, yeah.
Well, that and, there's just the bad element out there. Yeah, the kidnappers, the gangbangers, I mean, but I'm here in the city,
you used to have to worry about that razor in your apple. Now you got to worry about actually making it back home.
Right. Exactly. And I just wanted to say in regards to horror movies, I think horror movies are more based upon real life now, more so than anything, because if you read the paper or listen to the news, every day is a horror flick,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's more scary now.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's really been since the beginning of time. I mean, you go back, you look at, what's that old horror movie, Psycho. That's really based off of Ed Gein and stuff like that. So,
but I think that stuff is also a little more scary too.
Well, I'm sorry, Ann? What?
I said, I think that stuff is a little more scary when it's real like that. Like, it's a psychological thriller. That's the scariest.
Oh,
Monsters,
yeah.
They're overrated now, you know. Differently now.
It reaches into real life when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Say it again.
I think you say when it becomes psychological, I say it reaches into real life when before they were monsters and you could relate to make believe. These psychological movies, it's like that could happen. That's real.
Well, yeah, the new monster you can't see. I mean, you see them, but you don't know they're a monster until it's too late because they're just your average everyday human, you know. So, yeah, that's definitely way scarier. You could be standing next to a monster and not even know it.
Absolutely, and sometimes you could be help creating a monster and don't know that's what you're doing. That's another show. That's a show that we do, because that's what we do with these people we fall in love with, but we won't talk about that tonight.
Why you gotta go there, man?
Because I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of that.
Bag, ain't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm telling the truth. Yeah, I'm telling the truth there.
Wow.
Very true. Very true.
So do y'all believe in ghosts and things of that nature? Spirits?
I believe in spirits only because I had a situation where one of my best friends died, and 3 o'clock that morning I had something roll off my nightstand that had no reason for rolling. And I kind of just knew it was her. It was very freaky. Very freaky. So, yeah, I do have some sense of, belief. I don't know necessarily if it's a ghost or just spirit, but, yeah, that energy I believe in.
I do, but I don't really get afraid of them. I mean, I lived out in the country, and we used to, come Halloween time, they want to go look at all these abandoned houses and condemned houses, and we call it haunted housing because we want to see if the houses were haunted because they looked haunted from the outside. And I was the littlest kid, but I didn't have any fear of ghosts or horror movies, so they used to always make me go in first, and I'd be stuck in this condemned house. And I remember one time I went to this house, and come to find out it was an old gang house, and they had condemned it because it had been shot up. I got in there. There was blood all over the walls. It was like a scene out of a horror movie. And then I'm sitting there. The lights start flickering off and on. And I'm like, where's the light bulb?
Wow.
I'm sitting there like, now this just doesn't make any sense. The child that I was at the time, I wasn't scared. I was like, now I'm going to sit here and make sense.
Oh, you were in a haunted house? A house that was occupied by gang members?
It was actually a condemned house, but we wanted to say it was haunted.
That had been occupied by gang members?
Oh, yeah. It was pretty much kept by gangs, a drug house, and it had been condemned at some point. And as soon as you walk in, you see, 6-point stars and gang graffiti on the walls, and then it was like they had it all boarded up, but we knocked out the boards, and I climbed through one of the windows, and I got into one room, and it was obvious why the place had been, condemned. Somebody had gotten shot up in there, and they, before they condemned the place, they didn't even clean the blood off the walls. It was all just right there.
Wow.
Well, they didn't think they had to. They were condemning it.
An angry, dead gang member. That's not a good spirit. Wow.
You must have had on the wrong colors, Danny.
And I was like, well, I'm thinking like, well, if he's angry, this is minimal anger because my mom scared me more than this.
Now, that was Halloween. That was Halloween. When she was up there, and I knew that when I got home, she was going to be standing beside that door, that was fear.
Trying to come to the window and fear.
That's a whole nother show, too.
I don't think, yeah, that is. I don't think I feared anything like I did her with a switch in her hand or the instructions to go get a switch.
Oh, my goodness. We talked about that at work today.
Oh, yeah, go get a switch.
The young ladies, how us African-American children had to go to the yard and get the switch. She was like, what?
Yeah, go get your switch.
Go get the switch.
You go get the small. You go get the smallest switch you can find, not knowing those are the ones that hurt the worst.
The most brittle
one.
No,
she was sitting there back saying, "Oh, so you think I'm joking, huh?"
No, let her go out there and have to pick it herself.